After setting up your layouts, we're almost done now. There may be miscellaneous items that you still need to manually bring over and set up. For example, setting up any custom menus that you may use. A little planning ahead, by the way, when it comes to things like custom menus and also populating your layouts can sometimes be addressed early on in this process. And I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but I didn't. Back in the earlier step when we were setting up the recreating all the layout names back on step 3.2 on this list, what you could have done, and probably should have done if you didn't think of it yourself, is to create kind of a master template, one layout template. You don't have to actually bring over objects, but if you create a layout template that has where you go through all of the layout setting tabs, going into layout setup and then going through the tabs that are there, you could go in and turn on or off the checkboxes, set the default custom menu set that you may want to have displayed by default. If you have anything additional that you want to attach there, this would be a good place to do that. And then by duplicating that master and renaming each duplicate after the layouts that you're going to be using, you may save yourself some steps at the end, and then that way you don't have to go through every one of those. You know, another thing to check would be the kind of default margin setting that you know you're going to want to give them. So those are things that you could do at that step. And I was just thinking about that as I was thinking about custom menus, because custom menus are usually assigned either through the accounts and privileges dialog or sometimes both the accounts and privileges and in the layout dialog box itself. So anyway, if you have any custom menus, this is a good place to bring those across. Then the next step is to set up your accounts and privileges. And this is not something that I'm going to go through with you because this is a very personal thing. Every database is different, and the way that you set up your accounts and privileges can be quite different. So after you've moved everything over and now you've got everything in one consolidated database, you'll find it's easier to set up the accounts and privileges there. So this would be a good time to do that. Following that, you'll want to use Inspector at this stage if you have it. And this is kind of a fluid process where you're going to have to think a little bit outside the box based upon your own solution. And use Inspector because it makes doing this a much easier process to find, for example, any scripts that have a remote file. Any remote file calls that you have, for example, if you call a script from within one of your scripts. So you're opening up a subscript, and that subscript is being called from one of the other original files in your multi-file version of the database. That script step will still be there, reflecting the foreign file that it expects to have to go through in order to find that script. So what you'll want to do is use something like Inspector to go in and simply look for file references, or use Inspector as you see fit to find any other script corrections that may need to be made. Now, in addition to updating your scripts, really the final stage here is to test results. And that's something that I recommend you use two sets of eyes for. This is just good common sense. Test it until you're satisfied, and then have somebody else, probably your client, go through and wring it out and make sure that everything is working to their satisfaction as well. So I think we've pretty much covered everything here. I wish you luck with this process. This is not always for the faint of heart, but I think that using the techniques described here, you'll find that the process will go as smoothly as possible. So good luck with your migration, and thanks for listening to this tutorial.